Now, this afternoon, a team of experts on the ground in parts of the Ashanti region as they assess the impact of last night's floods there. We have details of that also coming up. Now, law students have hit the streets today protesting unfair treatment by the General Legal Council following another year of mass failure. And some 499 others who passed have been denied admission. We'll find out why. The law versus religion will also be trying to make sense of why the police would arrest a prophet for just sharing a message from God that is tied to the Shatta Wale story. We'll also bring you details plus an update on Shatta Wale's arrest. Thank you for staying. Now, we kickstart Joy News today with Kumasi, news from Kumasi, where this afternoon a team of experts are on the ground assessing the impact of last night's floods in the Ashanti regional capital. Now, motorists and commuters were left stranded for several hours following overnight heavy rains that caused flooding in several parts of the region. The resultant floods did not only cause heavy vehicular traffic, but also caused the destruction of portions of roads, cutting communities from each other. Ohiming Tewia has our report.
Continuous downpour caused River Susan, Owabe, Subin and other tributaries to overflow their banks. Asokwe Mampong Sepetimpom, Kumasi Barkese Ofinsu roads, among places were blocked for several hours as they were taken over by flood waters. Motorists and commuters were trapped for several hours amidst heavy vehicular traffic. Vehicles, including this Toyota Camry and tricycles, were swept away by the flood waters, trapping occupants on board.
The vehicle was just something tiny for the force of the water.
In the Asokwe Mampong municipality, a brave young man rescued 5 people trapped in a Toyota Camry vehicle, swept away by flood waters at Asabi Junction.
The occupants could not even remove the ignition key. It is left in the vehicle.
My brother, would you even bother to think of your key once you have been carried away from the main road to this part? I believe by that point, all that they were thinking about is them dying. But with God's help, the guy was able to come in to open and got those guys out.
The exact spot recorded 6 flood-related deaths about 2 years ago. Assemblyman for Sepetimpom, Kwame Nkrumah Atta, is full of praise to Mr. Abedi for that life-saving intervention.
About 3 years ago, there were containers all over, and we experienced such floods, and 6 people died around this area. Those who were commuting from the central market to their various houses were also locked up here. So those guys who were here managed to tie a rope around Mohammed Abidi, and it was sheer bravery that made the guy came over here to rescue those guys that were trapped in the vehicle. I don't know what came over the guy, but he had just saved us from another calamity. It was later on that the fire service came, but by the time they came, the rescue activity had been completed. We've always recommended that during the dry season, the river should be dredged. Some time past, there was this dredging activity that were being carried out on the river, and we didn't experience this kind of flooding. So once I believe that we must continue with the dredging, so that when it's rainy season, there will be enough space for the waters to flow through.
Some residents stayed awake overnight to clear their rooms filled with water.
It is already 2 a.m. on Wednesday. Sawaba New Site is one of the communities inundated by flood waters. In this house, I have seen some of the residents trying to clean their rooms, which have been taken over by flood waters. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, boss.
What is happening here?
When I get home, my room was flooded, so I'm trying my possible best to see if I can clean it up and then get somewhere to sleep right.
But is it possible?
I can't tell for now, but I'm trying my best. It has almost destroyed half of my clothes, my mattress, Even the water too has entered it and they have taken it out.
At Atafua in Kumasi, the news team, monitoring the flood situation, had to abandon the trip at about 3:30 a.m. as flood waters swept away a portion of the road linking Kronom Abohia.
Portion of the road has been eaten away by flood waters. What it means is that our vehicle cannot cross to the other end of the road.
Communities like Kronom, Boho, and Atafua are cut off.
Yesterday's case is worse. The place is not motorable again. They have to pass through a heavy traffic before getting to the other side of Kronom Abohia. Even students cannot pass through this place. They have to find another route to get to school as well.
From Kumasi, for Joy News, I'm Interior reporting.
Well, now the Environmental Protection Agency is partnering the Manhyia Palace to map out and preserve some wetlands in the Ashanti region. This forms part of measures to deal with persistent flooding of parts of Kumasi. Now, this partnership will also strengthen the prosecution of persons who develop on wetlands. Nanaya Ojima was at the Manhyia Palace where the EPA paid a courtesy call on the Asante Hene to discuss issues of environmental protection.
According to the National Disaster Management Organization, at least 12 flood-related deaths have been recorded in the Ashanti region this year. Many residential and commercial areas have now become flood-prone. Though poor drainage system in the city is ascribed as a cause, building on wetlands and waterways have come up strongly. NADMO has submitted reports of houses sitting on waterways for demolition, but city authorities are yet to take action on them. Under the new partnership, the EPA with authority has mapped up and encumbered identified wetlands in the city. Chief Executive of the EPA, Henry Kokofu, explains the need to educate the public for the conservation of wetlands.
Wetlands are not necessarily wastelands. So they are areas of high sensitivity when it comes to environmental issues. And these are areas where biodiversity conservation takes place. So if you destroy them, if you develop on them, if you build on them, you are destroying our very life. These wetlands serve as sinks for flooding waters. They take them, sieve down there to recharge the underground water or groundwater recharge. So please don't destroy wetlands. We have taken it upon ourselves, together with Manhyia, to encumber all such wetlands. And you will see those signposts there. EPA/Manhyia Protection of Nature Reserve. Please don't encroach.
Already, the Manhyia Palace EPA partnership has commenced restoration of vegetative cover around Lake Bosomtwe. The Asante Kingdom Land Restoration Project targets to plant 3 million trees across the lake. 315,000 of them have been planted, though some indigents are thwarting the efforts. Mr. Kokofu explains plans to deal with the distraction.
So at EPA, yes, we have the law behind us to ensure compliance, to ensure protection, and to even enforce the law to the point of meting out punitive measures, sanctions. But we strongly believe that it's about time we step up the awareness creation. But from now on, as we've given the CREMA means the Community Resource Management areas. These committee members, we have about 20 of these committees around the lakeside. They are volunteers and they are prepared to work with us to ensure that we protect these water bodies.
Meanwhile, the EPA has donated some hand tools to aid the tree planting. Leader of the project, Fred Che, explains work done so far.
Currently, fishing is also an issue. We overfish. So the introduction and the enforcement of the bylaws, where at least 2 days in a week, the lake will be left to relax, and then ban night fishing. We are going to enforce it in the second phase of the project, beginning 15th of November this year.
We'll be coming back to the flooding situation in Kumasi later on. But right now, a 400-acre land at Gumwa Fete within the Gumwa East District of the Central Region is fast becoming a replica of the old onion market at Agbogloshi. In July this year, Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Quartey supervised the relocation of onion sellers to Ajen Kotoku after decades of failed attempts. As their old site undergoes development, Joy News checks have revealed some of the onion sellers are now occupying part of a 400-acre piece of land off the Winneba Highway. Manuel Kranting has more from Dominase, which is fast being overtaken by trading activities.
And, when I started this, everybody thought, oh, it cannot happen. But please, read my lips. Nobody is going to come back here. It is done. Nobody.
Greater Accra Regional Minister Henry Quartey, as he led the relocation of the Agbogloshi onion sellers after years of failed attempts to move them to Ajen Kotoku. Indeed, they will not return, except some of them will find another spot at Gumwa Fete off the Winneba Highway to resettle. Dominase, as a new market space is called, sits on an undeveloped 400-acre landmass. Deputy Mankrado of the Achempim traditional area, Emmanuel Kumsin, explains how the land was allocated to the traders.
The Onion Sellers Association, they came to this man called Dominase Sariki, and they lead them to Omayene Achempim Traditional Council, the president, and he welcomed them mostly. So he cited this very portion that is Blair here. There's nobody is occupied. And they gave them 40 acres.
40 acres?
Yes.
For the onion market alone?
Onion market alone. So the land is almost 400 acres. We have timber market here. We have rubber association. A big vast land, 20 acres for them. The timber, 10 acres for them. And this onion market, 40 acres for them. And plenty people are coming. Spare parts dealers association is coming. Fish Dealers Association is coming.
He speaks of plans to develop an ultra-modern market square on the land in the long term.
We are having investors, those who are coming to invest this area for that. They are from China. Okay. They are coming to develop, to start from the hill, as you can see over there. It's almost 400 acres here. Okay. So they will start from the top there and develop down to the road side. So when they reach here, they will let the women, the traders will go and start from there and complete it.
But as more people find their way to the market, so do trading activities increase there.
Okay, market is booming.
It's booming?
It's booming. Only us, you have already market, you understand?
I see.
So wherever you go, market keep moving.
This is despite its proximity to the highway. Ali Fari speaks for the Onion Sellers Association.
Yeah, people I think we got about 6 people knocked down. That's why we got this and we wanted to put it by the road so that, the drivers can even a little bit slow down. So that they can just get a little bit slowed down when they get here. Because a lot of people doesn't even know that there's a market. We talked to the assembly, but we need authorization from the assembly so that we can put it by the roadside.
And just as we spoke, another trader got knocked down by a speeding taxi.
The taxi just knocked her down right now. That's what I'm talking about. We really need the speed ramp right here.
Apart from the risk of traders being knocked down by speeding vehicles, development at the market is running ahead of planning, risking the creation of another Agbogloshi market. Manuel Kranting, Joy News, Dominase in the Central Region.
Now, from the Dominase onion market, we go back to the flooding situation in Kumasi. My colleague Ohiming Tewia joins us via Zoom. Ohiming, if you can hear me, what's been done about the situation so far? NADMO has been on the ground assessing the situation. Can you tell us more about what NADMO has done so far by way of intervention?
Thank you, my brother. Indeed, NADMO has been busy since last night's downpour that flooded most part of the Ashanti region, especially within the Greater Kumasi area. NADMO has been assessing the situation at the district and municipal level. And I'm told that after all these assessments at the local level, then this will be sent to the regional level for action to be taken on this. But in the Asokwe municipality alone, Danmo officials say they have counted over 100 houses that were affected in yesterday's flood. So what it means is that the 100 houses, more people are also, more residents are also being covered, or they are being affected by the flood that occurred last night. So NADMO says until they are done with the assessment, they won't be able to extend support to people who need them. For now, the issue has to do with the fact that most homes were inundated by flood waters. The majority of the affected victims have, one way or the other, lost their personal belongings. So if anything in the form of support will come from NADMO, then it should be in the form of mattresses and also personal belongings like clothing to support people who were affected in the floods last night. Beyond this, the people who also got trapped in their vehicles and their vehicles were swept away have also made attempts and retrieved same of their vehicles from the scene. So almost all the 3 vehicles that were swept away, their owners have gone for them, and their owners have already started counting their losses. Very soon, I will be speaking to one of the gentlemen who actually survived yesterday's flooding. He was actually, saved at the 11th hour by a philanthropist, I must say, who
Well, that is my colleague, Ohiming Teria. Ohiming Teria, I can tell you're back on the line. Please proceed with the report that you're giving on the latest from Kumasi on the back of this flooding.
Yes, like I said earlier, people who lost their property, especially vehicle owners who had their vehicles swept away by the flood waters, already started counting their losses. And for them, they were saved by divine intervention, especially the incident at Asabi Junction, where we were told 5 occupants on board the Toyota Camry vehicle were saved by a gentleman who decided to risk his life and that of another to save these persons on board Toyota Camry vehicle. So they've already started counting their losses. And those who have lost their personal belongings and their clothes are also counting their losses. But NADMO says it cannot extend support to them until it is done with the assessment that is currently doing at the district and municipal level. And after this, reports will be sent to the regional office where total assessment will be done to understand what kind of support can be extended to these persons. But in the interim, I can report that most of the affected persons are those who lost their vehicles in the flood waters, and the others also who had their rooms inundated by flood waters.
Right.
So these are the areas that can support them.
Ohiming Teria, thank you for bringing us the latest all the way from the Ashanti region. He is with Love FM. But let's quickly move over to the Bono East region where Anas Sabit is standing by. There have been rain and flooding there as well. Anas, what is the update on the situation in the Bono East region?
Ben, here, usually, especially this particular time around, we have rural communities or farming communities that have been affected by the floods. In their cases, rivers that usually connect or separate these communities to the district or municipal capital have some bridges that have been washed away by the rains, and as a result, these people have been cut off from accessing the major town centers in the Kintampo North municipality, for instance. I believe it's one of the farming communities that are usually into yam, farming. For the past 2 weeks, they are unable to convey their farm produce to the market because the road has been washed away by the floods. And as we speak now, the people are unable to cross over with their produce to the market. The situation, according to them, is actually having a toll on their economic activity. So they are pleading on authorities to come to their aid as soon as possible.
Well, Anas, thank you for bringing us the latest from Bono East as well. Let's go to some security-related news now. And suspected robbers have gunned down a watchman guarding the office of A2 Enterprise, an aluminium products dealership venture at Santase Kokobing in Kumasi. 49-year-old Bosompim Ando was found dead with stab wounds and his body dragged inside the shop. Now, manager of the shop, Stephen Ochi, says the robbers made away with an amount of about 89,000 cedis and a power generator. Erastus Asari Donko joins us with more. Erastus, what more can you tell us about this dastardly robbery up to this point? What is the latest? Well, we'll try to get the latest from there. In the meantime, we do know that these suspected robbers have gunned down a watchman guarding this office, the A2 Enterprise office. They deal in aluminium products, and it is in Santase Kokobing in Kumasi. And to boot, 49-year-old Bosompim Ando was found dead, apparently with stab wounds, and his body was dragged inside the shop. Let's connect now with Erastus, who will bring us the latest on this development. Erastus, thank you for joining the conversation. Now, what is the latest as far as this murder is concerned?
Well, so what we do know now is that the deceased, during daytime, serves as a washing bay attendant, and during nighttime, he's a nighttime security man for this company, A2 Aluminium Enterprise. And last night, when he came to work, people saw him there, but in the morning when they came, he had been killed. And you could see blood in front of the shop. And then when you enter the shop as well, you could see a pool of blood inside the shop. We are told that they believe that he was stabbed because his whole body was soaked in blood and in front of the shop, and he was dragged inside. They had tied his hands behind him and gagged him with a piece of cloth as well. Now, the manager of the company is telling us that they made away with 89,000 Ghana cedis. They also robbed another shop. They broke into another shop. It's an ECG Ghana Water Company vending shop upstairs. They stole 8,000 Ghana cedis from there as well. So that is what we do know for now. Police have taken away the body for autopsy, and they have also started their investigations, combing the community for leads.
And what is, I mean, those in the community, what is the state in which they are? How have they reacted to this entire incident, Erastus?
In fact, I spoke with a couple of shop owners along that stretch, and they tell me that this is not the first time. This is about the fourth time that shops in the area have been hit, but this is the first time that somebody has been killed. Some of them are telling me that even 3 days ago, one of the shops was attacked. They were able to cut the locks open, but were not able to steal anything before dawn. And so it's a problem that they themselves want the police to find a solution to. They are requesting that the police will mount sort of a roadblock in the Kokobing stretch in front of the shops to check the area in the night for them, because it's becoming one too many.
Before you take leave of us, Erastus, the gentleman who has lost his life, who has been brutally murdered, has his family come forth? Has there been any interaction with them on the back of this incident? Well, we shall try to reconnect with Erastus on that, if he can actually hear me on this. Erastus, are you still with us?
The police and this person, currently we do not know about his family, immediate family members. The police are now looking for such leads. What we do know is that he's 49 years old. He works as a washing bay attendant during daytime and has been working with this A2 Enterprise for about 10 years now. And so during nighttime, he serves as a watchman for that particular company. We are yet to know any of his immediate family members.
Erastus, thank you very much for bringing us the latest on that development. Erastus Asare Donko there with the latest on that gory murder and robbery that we've just been speaking to you about in the Ashanti region. Thank you for staying with us on Joy News today. Now, dancehall artiste Shatta Wale could face up to 3 years in jail if the police proves that he spread false information with the intention to cause fear and panic. The musician was arrested after he claimed an alleged gunshot attack on him. Two others, Kojo Wusu Kranting and Eric Venato, have also been picked up for the same reasons. Now, the musician is assisting police in investigations as his lawyers attempt to seek bail for him. Already, a police statement on the matter notes preliminary investigations reveal that the widely reported gunshot attack was a hoax. So what charges is Shatawale likely to face, and what will be his punishment? Private legal practitioner Samson Ladi Anyenene sheds light on the law of misinformation. He spoke on Newsdesk on the Joy News channel.
We have the Section 208 of our Criminal and Other Offences Act, which says that you face up to 3 years in jail if you don't verify and spread false statements, rumor, or report that can cause fear and panic. So those who generated, as in his case, he generated the information that was spread, and that information is turning out to be false. And did it cause some fear and panic? I suppose the jury is out there. And so for the one who originated it himself, by the law, should be in trouble. And then also, if you looked at our Electronic Communications Act, there too, by Section 76, the law says that you face a fine of up to 36,000 Ghana cedis or 5 years in jail for such an act.
Now, on the back of this incident, Bishop Stephen Akwesi has been in the spotlight right now. Now, should the police be arresting a prophet? That's the question. We've invited leadership of the Concerned Clergy Association of Ghana, Bishop Benny Wood, to help us make some spiritual sense of all of this that is happening. Bishop Wood, thank you so much for joining the conversation. And I would ask you my initial question: should spiritual matters like this be scrutinized to the point of the police swooping in for an arrest? What is your take? We'll take a bit of a break. When we return later, we'll get back to this story. But up next is business.
Hello everyone, welcome to Business. My name is Darrell Kwao. The Ghana Statistical Service wants the inequality gap within the financial sector to be bridged. According to Deputy Government Statistician Dr. Faustina Frimpong Ingwa, financial service provision should be closer to every part of the country to enable people access resources to improve their livelihood. She made the assertion at the presentation of the 2021 Population and Housing Residential Proximity to Essential Service Report.
The Ghana Statistical Service, in its 2021 Population and Housing Census on the residential proximity to essential service facilities, indicates that 57% of residential structures are located more than 5 kilometers from a bank. The service adds that there are substantial disparities in the availability of essential services between urban and rural areas. Here is the Deputy Government Statistician, Dr. Faustina Frimpong Ingwa, who says the data is to help bridge the gap between inequalities and vulnerabilities in the financial sector.
GM banks have been closed and other things, but if the structure, the name is still there, right? Even though it's not functioning, still there will be that the person will say it's functioning. The next step that we're going to do is that we ask whether these things are functioning. So that's the next step, that we engage our data to be able to know that these things that we took the Joy reference code and their numbers, are they all functioning now, or some are not functioning? Again, for us, we do not tell government do A or B, but we put information down for the policy makers to know the right thing to do. At least it's backed by data, to be able to have evidence base in order to put the scarce resources that we have into, fruitful use or prudential use. Now, one of the things that we are coming up with, that we will realize that from the UN Declaration Intervention, health is important, education is important, and then security. Financial institution is not part of those human rights, but we think that if people do not have the right resources, they cannot develop or benefit. And therefore, we wanted to look at it so that how best do we take advantage of this to be able to reduce inequalities and vulnerability.
Savannah region has the largest percentage of residential structures, leaving fathers from education. Health services ranking all 6 facilities providing these essential services analyzed, while the Greater Accra region has the lowest percentage of residential structures, leaving fathers from education and health services ranking first for 5 out of 6 facilities providing essential services analyzed. James Eshen's report for Joy Business.
Now, supporting the growth of the creative arts industry is critical to the successful brand position of businesses in other sectors of Ghana's economy. That's according to head of BS at Guinness Ghana, Roland Kwesi Labi Ofori. He was speaking to Joy Business at a special masterclass in Kumasi where more than 50 entrepreneurs in the creative arts space benefited. The initiative by Guinness Ghana and 3 Music Network is geared towards spurring growth amongst budding creative artists and entrepreneurs in the Ashanti region. There's more in this report.
So obviously you had an idea what you wanted to do right from the scratch. Okay, let me get to study.
The 2-hour masterclass session featured dancer Incredible Ziggy, Abrantier the Gentleman, fashion designer Oheneba Yaobwama, and CEO of 3 Music, Baba Sadiq Abdullahi Abu. The campaign is meant to drive creativity, growth, and encourage ingenuity among the creative sector players. Head of BS at Guinness Ghana, Roland Kwesi Labi Ofori, said the aim is to drive thought leadership and conversation among the creative arts.
So I'm pretty much excited that we've been able to provide our platform for that networking, and also most importantly, giving these young creatives, the reassurance and the belief that it is possible to make it in your craft. And I can assure you that all this hue and cry about, youth unemployment, I believe that a lot of the youth are really skilled. There are things they can do. If they know that there's a way in which they can monetize it, they'll be cool and then, spend their energy and their resources in perfecting that space. So I'm pretty much excited about the energy I saw here. And I'm expecting that we will build on it going forward. Brands cannot be built sustainably without, the collaborative effort of our creatives. So it is our interest to, kind of trigger the conversation, collaborate with them, and then help us get to a space where people will feel it is worth investing in it. And
the Creative Masterclass, which consists of a series of panel discussions, will move to Tamale, then Takoradi, and finally in the capital city, Accra. CEO of 3 Music Network, Baba Sadiq Abdullahi Abu, encouraged the young creatives.
I don't think that we have any problem with the creative content that's coming out from here. We only need to just adapt some of the best business practices and ensure that we're able to scale up as much as possible. Investment is key, but anybody that's involved in business and entrepreneurship will tell you that without employing some of the best business practices, it's difficult for you to have to actually even raise investments. You've got to prepare a business plan, understand how whatever investment that you need will give you, return on the investment. So I think that what we are helping with this is to drive that insights to all of them to understand that, look, it's a very serious profession, and if you're going to be involved and really milk and get enough benefit out of it, there's a need to go beyond the passion point. The passion is good, you're creating all the product, is fine, it's good as well, but you need to understand the business element, the commerce part of it, and employ all the best business practices that will ensure that you're able to achieve your bottom line.
Dancer Incredible Ziggy reiterated the need to take advantage of social media to sell the creative arts.
So all you need to do is just keep being consistent, keep working hard, keep making sure that you post your stuff on social media, because social media is very, very powerful. Please, anybody watching me home, social media, it has changed my life. Guinness right now, this has been like the biggest highlight of my whole career.
After the masterclass, the Bright House Experience, a fundamental part of the Guinness Black Shines Brightest campaign, was unveiled in Kumasi. Prince Apia reporting.
And that's business. More coming up on the marketplace at the top of the hour. Up next, sports.
Hello, good afternoon. Time now for Sports on Joy News today. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Head coach of the Black Queens, Mercy Tego, has assembled a team for AWCON 22 qualifiers without the services of 4 instrumental players due to injuries. However, she is optimistic about a good performance against the Falcons later today.
As you all know, we prepared towards the AWCON qualifiers, and we had the opportunity to go to Nigeria to play Aisha Buhari Cup, and it was a preparatory games for us, and it's really good. It has really served as a proper preparation for us. Unfortunately, most of my foreign-based players played their various clubs league matches, and unfortunately for me, almost everybody got injured. Sharifa had a serious injury at the hip. Eunice Beckman also had a muscle tear, and 1 or 2 of them had their document not completed. However, I have a few others who are ready. So far, so good. And I have the belief in this current crop of players that I have selected, because this is the same team that I took to Nigeria for the Aisha Buhari Cup. And looking at the performance, it wasn't bad at all. And I believe that the little experience that they've acquired and the little corrections that we made, we are going to make a difference, God willing, come Wednesday.
House of Oak head coach Samuel Bode is confident left back Radi Ovoka will recover for his side's CAF Champions League playoff return leg against Wydad Casablanca of Morocco. The Congo international limped off during the first leg in Accra, and the Phobians are sweating over his availability ahead of the next week's game. But Bode says he could be available for selection.
The Continental Club Masters suffered a huge injury blow on October 17 when their influential left-back Radi Ovoka could not complete the full 90 minutes in their 1-0 win over Wydad Casablanca in the first leg of the CAF Champions League playoff at the Accra Sports Stadium. There are reports the Congolese defender will not be available for the return leg on October 24, but with 5 days to go, Hearts coach Samuel Bode is confident Radio Voka and the other players nursing injuries will be fit for the big game in Casablanca.
He costs us a lot because early change causes a lot of things, so it makes our system and strategy fail. But once we have a replacement, we work on him to take that position. But I know that Ovoka cannot come to this match, and even not Ovoka alone. We were playing with a lot of injuries. Salifu and Kalipa Mankwa cannot play. Nete, a lot, but we manage. We try to push them. So I think from now going to work on them so that they will all be fit. So that when we go to the Morocco, we can do well.
The winner over 2 legs progresses to the group stage of the CAF Champions League, while the loser drops to the CAF Confederations Cup. Samuel Bode is optimistic Haas will qualify.
They shouldn't give up because that's our motto. Yeah, we are going out and we make sure that we are going to qualify over there.
President of the Ghana Basketball Association, David Ashon, has revealed to Joy Sports that the state lacks resources to support a basketball national team. Basketball has been active at the regional and tertiary levels, with the University of Ghana basketball team emerging as the echelons of the sport in Ghana. However, there has been a gap at the national team level, and Asham believes the state support is very inadequate.
It's interesting you say that. I mean, you have two different things happening. At first, we did have a national team, which was a bit more active because we had support. And at the time, there was less grassroots participation in basketball. I think the situation has reversed. You have more at the grassroots and less at the top. And I think there are good reasons or clear reasons for that. When it gets to the national team, it's a matter of sponsorship. It's a matter of, and to a large extent, when it's national rather than commercial, it's the state which has to give the resources. And it's much more difficult to attract sponsorship at that level. And government has its constraints, focuses on us. I mean, it's something you hear all the time talking about the lesser known sports, etc., etc. And basketball is a victim of that as well. So we've had a reversal. And I think personally, I'm glad that we have basketball being played across the country. Sprite ball has been a wonderful addition to the sport in this country, and other tournaments. And we have regional leagues being played. And so there's a lot going on the ground. But the kind of visibility people want to see is a national team.
That is your sports for now, but we do have more sports stories to share with you on myjoyonline.com/sports. The news continues.
From sports, we continue with more news. It's another year and another reason for persons reading law in Ghana to be on the streets instead of being in the classroom or at the courts. The students have been demonstrating today in Accra over what they say is a deliberate attempt by the General Legal Council to deny them access to legal education. We have details of how that protest is going, but first, here's a background to the issues this year. So we're getting into the protest today, that demonstration. We'll bring you snippets of what happened earlier this morning.
Your record show we passed. Give us admission. We are begging you, Chief Justice. Chief Justice, we are begging you. Attorney General, we are begging you, Mr. Godfred Adami. It is what we have earned. It is not that we failed. Master, it is traumatizing. It is very difficult. This exam is a very difficult exam. It is not easy. The former Chief Justice, Sophia Kufu, stated that the pass mark is 50%. The former acting director stated that the pass mark is 50%. How come I have 57 and I'm in the house crying on the streets? Mr. President, we have been... 499! 499! 499! 499! 499! 499! 499!
So let's get a brief background to what exactly has transpired this year. Some 790 out of 2,834 candidates were offered admission, though an extra 499 of them secured the 50% pass mark. Let's take you live to the Independence Square for some updates on the protest. Manuel Kranting is our correspondent on this beat, and here's a report he filed at the time of the protest. So we'll be bringing you details of that. We'll be connecting shortly with Manuel Kranting, who will bring us up to speed on that particular issue, the demonstration of law students as they hit the streets to demand the admission of some 499 students. Well, the Deputy Minister of Education in charge of Technical and Vocational Education Training, Gifty Chum Ampofo, says the National Science and Math Quiz is helping unify the country. Speaking at the launch of the main competition scheduled to take place from the 26th of October to later in November, she said people forget their political differences during the period of the competition. Maxwell Agbapa was at the launch and now reports.
The National Science and Maths Quiz has become an integral part of the senior high school calendar with a lot of interest from old students. Even for prospective SHS students, it plays a key role in the schools they select.
I saw Presec on the TV and I loved how they performed. I chose Presec because of NSMQ.
You chose Presec because of NSMQ. And so anytime you wear the blue uniform, it gives you a lot of pride. You know, you walk chest out.
Yes, please.
What should we expect this year from Presec Legon?
You should expect us to give our best and bring home the trophy.
As six-time winners of the National Science and Maths Quiz, Presec Legon say they are determined to win the trophy for the 7th time. This, they believe, will consolidate their lead as undisputed NSMQ champions. Prempeh College follows them closely with 4 trophies. Here are some teachers and students from Presec Legon at the launch of the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz Championship.
That year, nothing but the best. So we go for it. I mean, we are always prepared. Wherever you meet us, we are ready to conquer.
Yeah.
So we are, very, very much prepared. We are ready. Kumasi brings us a lot of energy. So Osei Krom prepare. We are coming and we are coming back with our trophy.
The light, we shall see light, illuminate.
After the preliminary round of contest, the capital of the Ashanti region, Kumasi, will host the 1/8 stage, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and the finals. Managing Director of Primetime Limited, Anekuya Nkumasari, has been talking about preparations.
A program like this requires a lot of logistic support, the accommodation, meals for the contingents and crew and everybody.
So for those in Kumasi, what should they expect in Kumasi?
Oh, fireworks, the usual fireworks. No, Ashanti region is always extremely competitive. When you go there and you have the qualifiers, it's always exciting, extremely competitive. And the regional championships that we just had in June, which had Prempeh College, Opokuwari School, and Kumasi Sectech in the finals, was pretty much like doing the finals here in Accra. The kind of enthusiasm and passion that was in there.
I saw a bit of that from Prempeh College.
Yes. And so we are expecting nothing less than that. We know it's going to be fireworks, and we can't wait to see what will happen there either.
I'm not even going to try. Forget it. St. Augustine's College. Your problem started early. Pesek Legon. You have the diagram I'm looking for. You are not ready.
No, I'm raising my hand.
Okay, go ahead.
It's an array.
No.
S-solid.
Which is this?
Methane gas. -5.
Yes. Valence electrons. Yes.
Plasma.
You are right.
The Deputy Minister of Education in charge of Technical and Vocational Education Training, Gifty Chum Ampofu, says the National Science and Maths quiz has played a key role in making the study of the subjects appealing.
I commend the brains behind the NSMQ for such a brilliant creation. The interest of parents, the old students, the teachers, and the students themselves is overwhelming. So if when they get to the last stage, you go to work and no work goes on. So when you get there, you know that something is happening. Oh, so these are these schools, and then you find the associate. Maybe a brother is there, or a husband or a wife is there. So that day, nothing goes on.
Well, this is where we actually draw the curtains on Joy News today. You can check out more stories on myjoyonline.com. Our major story there this hour: robbers kill security guard of aluminium company and steal products worth 89,000 Ghana cedis. More of those stories on myjoyonline.com. My name is Benjamin Akapo.